Hello and welcome. You're watching Newsx with me, Devika Chopra. We have some breaking news coming in. Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, has vowed unimaginable consequences for the perpetrators of the Pahalgam attack after India announced strong measures to squeeze Pakistan economically by suspending the Indus Water Treaty. Pakistan has suspended the Simla Agreement. We have seen heart-wrenching visuals from all parts of the country where thousands have now mourned the deaths of the 26 innocent civilians in Pahalgam. We've also seen videos of terrorists mercilessly killing the tourists. Here's how, however, foreign media has now reported the same. Let me put this out on our screens if we can. If our PCR crew upstairs can just please put this out on our screens, and I will take this conversation forward with our guests as well. Joining me on the broadcast, Mr. N.K. Sood, Sumit Peer, Wing Commander S. Sudhakaran, Mr. Rajan Khanna and Adit Kothari with me. My colleague Manohar Kestri also joins us. Manohar, I will come to you in just a moment, but let me quickly address the latest developments. In fact, let me go across to Manohar first. Manohar, we're learning that the all-party meeting that was called by the government has now concluded. If you can take our viewers through, what is it that you're learning?
देखिए बिल्कुल ऑल पार्टी मीटिंग जो चल रही थी वो खत्म हो गई है। करीब 2 घंटे बैठक चली है और अभी कुछ देर पहले ही अमित शाह और राजनाथ सिंह दोनों निकले हैं और लगातार सांसदों का, मंत्रियों का कारवां और काफिला जो है सो यहाँ से बाहर जाते हुए ये आप देखिए किसी और एक मंत्री की गाड़ी यहाँ से बाहर निकल रही है। इनका सर्किट आगे की ओर जा रहा है क्योंकि ये कौन है, जेपी नड्डा जो बीजेपी के राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष हैं। देखिए ये यहाँ से संसद भवन से निकले हैं क्योंकि पार्लियामेंट की में बैठक चल रही थी और मैं बताऊं कि इस बैठक में सरकार की ओर से केंद्रीय गृह मंत्री अमित शाह की ओर से, विदेश मंत्री एस जयशंकर की ओर से, राजनाथ सिंह की ओर से सभी पार्टियों को आश्वस्त किया गया है और जानकारी दी गई है कि अब तक सरकार ने पहलगाम मामले में क्या कुछ किया है। कल जब बैठक शुरू हुई तो उससे पहले श्रद्धांजलि वालों को लेकर के मौन रखा गया है और उसके बाद जो है सरकार की ओर से केंद्रीय गृह मंत्री अमित शाह ने जानकारी दी है कि आखिरकार पहलगाम मामले में सरकार ने अब तक क्या एक्शन लिया है। कल जिस तरह से डिप्लोमेटिक स्ट्राइक किया गया और आज डिजिटल स्ट्राइक किया गया, पाकिस्तान का जो एक्स पोस्ट हैंडल था उसको भी बंद कर दिया गया है, पाकिस्तान एम्बेसी को भी 48 घंटे का अल्टीमेटम दिया गया है। तो ऐसे में अपोजिशंस को बताया गया कि आखिरकार सरकार ने ये कदम उठाए हैं और आज जिस तरह से प्रधानमंत्री ने बिहार की धरती से कहा कि उन लोगों के खिलाफ जिन्होंने इस घटना को अंजाम दिया है उनके खिलाफ जो है सो बड़ी कार्रवाई होगी और इस तरह की कार्रवाई होगी, इस तरह की सजा दी जाएगी ताकि उन्होंने कल्पना अब तक नहीं किया होगा। मिट्टी में मिला दिया जाएगा, एक एक जगह को चून करके जो है सो मिट्टी में मिलाया जाएगा जो आतंक का गढ़ है। तो ऐसी स्थिति में आज अपोजिशन को जानकारी दी गई। हम कोशिश करेंगे कि आज जो बैठक हुई है उसमें क्या कुछ
Okay. Is there any audio in these visuals that are coming in? Let's listen in. Mallikarjun Kharge speaking. Is there any audio?
Irrespective of ये वो ऐसा कुछ। और दूसरी चीज हमने ये कहा कि कश्मीर में शांति रखने के लिए वो अच्छा प्रयास करें और वहाँ पर शांति रखना जरूरी है। ये बात उनके सामने हमने रखा और उन्होंने ये कहा कि सभी एक्शन ले लें।
राहुल जी कश्मीर जा रहे
हैं।
जी सिक्योरिटी लैब्स की बात करिए आपने।
राहुल जी बोल रहे हैं, यूनिफॉर्मली कंडेम किया है सबने जो हुआ है और पूरी सपोर्ट किया है ऑपोजिशन ने सरकार को, कोई भी एक्शन नहीं।
आज प्रधानमंत्री ने कहा है कि कड़ा एक्शन लेंगे, तो आप लोग उससे संतुष्ट हैं?
राजनाथ सिंह जी ने प्रिसाइड किया, अमित शाह जी भी यहाँ थे। हमने सब लोगों ने मिल के जो पहलगाम में इंसिडेंट हुआ है उसको सभी लोगों ने कंडेम किया, ऑल पार्टी इर्रेस्पेक्टिव ऑफ ये वो ऐसा कुछ। और दूसरी चीज़ हमने ये कहा कि कश्मीर में शांति रखने के लिए वो अच्छा प्रयास करें और वहाँ पर शांति रखना ज़रूरी है। ये बात उनके सामने हमने रखा और उन्होंने ये कहा बाकी सभी एक्शन ले रहे हैं।
राहुल जी कश्मीर जा रहे हैं।
राहुल जी
कश्मीर जा रहे
तो
हैं।
खड़गे जी सिक्योरिटी लैब्स की बात करी आपने। राहुल जी बोल रहे हैं।
राहुल जी बोलिए।
यूनिफॉर्मली कंडेम किया है सबने, सपोर्ट दिया ऑपोजिशन ने सरकार को, कोई भी एक्शन नहीं।
आज प्रधानमंत्री ने कहा है कि कड़ा एक्शन लेंगे, तो आप लोग उससे संतुष्ट हैं खड़गे साहब?
ओपनली बोल रहे हैं एक्सिबिशन के सरकार।
Okay, so there you heard it. I want to quickly bring in Sumit Peer into the conversation here. Sumit, you've heard Mallikarjun Kharge, Rahul Gandhi, they've both spoken at this point in time, and of course saying that there is complete support that has been expressed towards the government in any action that the government now may want to take. Sumit.
Devika ji, thanks for having me on the show. Well, conceptually it looks okay because that is what we are hearing right now, but I don't know how this will span bite morning or 24 hours, because yesterday if I look at Mr. Robert Vadra was talking and how was he justifying it, it looked to me he had got the brief from the Pakistan High Commission, which was made by the General Asim of ISI, and if his hands written brief he was reading out. I hope and pray that these people stick to what they are saying right now. These are the same set of people who asked the questions of the surgical strike. जिन्हें proof चाहिए था, did the surgical strike happen? They asked about the proof of Balakot, and I don't know how soon they will give it the religious color. I don't know how soon they will try to twist the tables. Right now, it is heartening to hear that with the government, because Bharat needs a decisive action. And if they are seasoned politicians, they should look at and listen to the mood of the people of the ground, which is to hate Pakistan, which is to decimate Pakistan, and which is to leave Pakistan in the state where they can never ever do this. Now, if you look at international media, if you look at all the sources which are coming out, it is very clear General Asim Munir gave a green light for this operation. He initiated this operation, and Pakistani army and Pakistan has to pay for it. There is no doubt. The sentiment is across the nation. It doesn't matter which party you vote for. It doesn't matter even what is your religion. That is the sentiment across Bharat. And if Rahul Gandhi wants to be in politics, Kharge ji wants to be in politics, is better he listen to the sentiment of the people. Else, all the mistakes which they have done in the past, and if they keep on repeating them, I think this time around they might not even get 20 seats.
Okay, all right. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will continue to track further developments. Visual, of course, will keep coming in, but this all-party meeting that was called by the union government started at 6 o'clock today, and it has concluded at sharp 8 p.m. And of course, we can see all leaders now making their way out of the Parliament's annex. We've just heard the Congress party come out and very clearly said that while they condemn the Pahalgam attack, they will also give their support to the government in whatever action it plans on taking. That of course now remains to be seen what action Government of India will be taking against the perpetrators of the attack. But on that note, let me also come back to what we were discussing earlier, wherein once again we see how foreign media refuses, simply, blatantly, clearly refuses to recognize the gravity of the situation. Let's go back to what we had put out on our screens earlier. This is, of course, the New York Times. The headline reads, at least 24 tourists gunned down by militants in Kashmir. Prime Minister Narendra Modi of India called the shooting the worst against civilians in the region for years and quote unquote a terror attack, and has vowed to bring the perpetrators to justice. So New York Times once again refusing to firstly call this a terror attack, to call Pahalgam a terror attack, and refusing to use the word terrorist. Meanwhile, the same New York Times article reads, militants opened fire on a group of tourists in the Indian administered region of Kashmir on Tuesday, killing at least 24 and injuring many more. The attack took place in a picturesque Himalayan district of pine-covered hills and valleys that is popular with Indian travelers and that locals often call a mini Switzerland. It was the worst assault against civilians in the restive region in years, said Omar Abdullah. But once again, militants opened fire on a group of tourists in Indian administered Kashmir. That's the language that has been used. Meanwhile, BBC, more than 20 killed after gunmen opened fire on tourists in Indian administered Kashmir. They're calling terrorists, 4 terrorists who have brutally, barbarically shot down 26 tourists and injured several others. The BBC calls them gunmen who have opened fire on tourists in Indian administered Kashmir. Disgusting is the word. Guardian, at least 26 tourists killed by suspected militants in Kashmir attack. Once again, refusing to use the word terrorist, because I guess all of these publications are waiting for a meeting of the United Nations to take place, wherein finally, after many decades, the UN and its masters will be able to come up with a definition of terrorism. Imagine, that's why international media, which is the beacon of truth and justice and all the good words in the world, is not able to use the word terrorists or terrorism vis-a-vis India, because they don't think the definition of terrorism fits what is happening in India. This is a Washington Post. Gunmen launch rare attack on tourists in Indian administered Kashmir. So this is the Washington Post right there. Visitors were snapping photos and riding ponies when assailants emerged from a nearby forest and fired indiscriminately, as per locals. Let's keep myself and the guests on screen, please. Gunmen launch rare attack on tourists. Gunmen. So BBC has gone a step further. New York Times, Washington Post, they've gone a step further. Earlier they would at least use the word militant. Now they don't think it's even that's to be used. They've now come down to gunmen. And lastly, the Wall Street Journal says Kashmir attack leaves 25 dead in Indian tourist spot. What is Kashmir attack? I really want to understand from whoever has written this article for the Wall Street Journal, what is Kashmir attack leaves 25 dead in Indian tourist spot? The Washington Post goes on to write, a large number of tourists were killed or wounded Tuesday after suspected militants opened fire in a popular suspected militants have opened fire in Indian administered Kashmir. So this is the state of foreign media coverage of what has happened in India. Mr. N.K. Sood, I want to understand from your perspective, sir, why is the foreign media refusing to recognize the gravity of the situation?
This is not the first time. This all foreign media, they support deep state. They are funded by China. They are funded by anti-India elements, whether it is George Soros or anybody. I was in London. Our High Commission was very close to the BBC office, and we used to talk to some of these people. They said, this is our agenda, that we have to target India, and they will continue to target India. So this is not a new thing for us, and they will never accept it. They will never change. Like the communists will never change. If the communists were in India, they will never change. Like Pakistan, that will never change. This media will not change. We don't have to listen to them. We don't have to worry about them. We have our purpose, and the only thing that people of this expect is some result from PM Modi, and PM Modi has never failed this nation, and he will never fail us. A lot of people are expecting a lot of things, that PM Modi will do this thing or that thing. I must tell you that our aircraft carrier and Navy, they have already moved towards Karachi port, and I don't think that they will attack right now. They will take action, because this is time for our Air Force has been tested, our Army has been tested, our Navy will be tested now. This is not that we should be, as PM Modi said, that we will destroy all the camps, etc. That is a different aspect. That is one aspect. But who is the main terrorist? It is not the terrorists who are terrorists. It is the Pakistan's army who is the terrorist, as Sumit has said a number of times. So it is Pakistan army whose back we want to break. We should. But the thing is, what Pakistan wants, we should not play into Pakistan's hands. There are reports that Pakistan army wants the limited war with India. There cannot be a full-scale war. So we should go for limited war in a different aspect. We should target them at the border, because they have also now challenged this your Shimla peace talks. That doesn't make any difference. The first thing that PM Modi did was to cancel this Sindhu Treaty.
Yes.
That's the major point. And that's one more thing. This PM Modi had even said in 2016, when 2017, when Uri attack took, he said bread and water cannot go together. But we cannot stop Pakistan's water like that. At that time, $15 billion was sanctioned to build 10 dams, Some of these dams had been completed. All these dams have been built on flow, which the water of the river will be stored and then again released, That is different aspect. But side by side, India was building a pipeline, underwater pipeline. This water will be shifted to Punjab, to Haryana and Rajasthan. Now dams are there. Already Kishan-Ganga Dam had been built, that was completed, and one more dam was there. Because under Indus Water Treaty, 80% of water was given to Pakistan and 20% was kept for India, and out of the 20%, even 6-7% water used to go to Pakistan. So that water has been stopped. Now after this, the water has to be shifted to India because he has cancelled this deal, and this cancellation will be permanent cancellation unless it is again reviewed. And the next deal will be on our terms. That won't be on Pakistan terms. And you see, it's a question of few weeks because summer is coming. During summer, Pakistan will suffer. Water shortage will be there, and this is one of the things that that I think we have hit Pakistan below the belt.
Okay.
And after that,
Okay, all right. We also have a soundbite that's coming of Sanjay Singh after the all-party meeting. Let's quickly listen in.
पूरा देश गुस्से में है, नाराजगी में है, आक्रोश में है और देश का हर नागरिक ये चाहता है कि भारत की सरकार आतंकवादियों को उन्हीं की भाषा में जवाब दे जैसे उन्होंने हमारे निहत्थे निर्दोष लोगों की हत्या की है, निहत्थे निर्दोष पर्यटकों को मारा है। उसी की भाषा में आतंकवादियों का समूल नाश होना चाहिए, उनको बर्बाद किया जाए, उनके कैंप्स बर्बाद किए जाए और जहां से ये संचालित हो रहा है पाकिस्तान से, उस पाकिस्तान के खिलाफ भी आप कार्रवाई करिए। ऐसा सब ने एक मत से आज सर्वदलीय बैठक में अपनी बात सरकार के सामने रखी है। दूसरा विषय, इतनी गंभीर और संवेदनशील बैठक थी, इतनी गंभीर और संवेदनशील सुरक्षा के मुद्दे पर बैठक थी, तो हमारी अपेक्षा थी कि प्रधानमंत्री जी संभवतः इस मीटिंग में जरूर रहेंगे, लेकिन उनको बिहार का कार्यक्रम ज्यादा महत्वपूर्ण लगा और इस बैठक में आना महत्वपूर्ण नहीं लगा। ये भी सवाल कई सदस्यों ने सर्वदलीय बैठक में उठाए। इसके अलावा एक जो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण जानकारी सामने आई, वो अपने आप में हास्यास्पद भी है और वो दुख देने वाली भी है। 22 अप्रैल की ये घटना है और 20 अप्रैल से वो स्थान बगैर सुरक्षा एजेंसियों की जानकारी के प्रारंभ कर दिया गया। यानी कि ये जानकारी दी गई कि पहले वहां पर सिर्फ अमरनाथ यात्रा के दौरान पर्यटक जाते थे, लेकिन 20 अप्रैल को बिना किसी सुरक्षा एजेंसी की जानकारी के वो स्थान खोल दिया गया। एक स्थान पे 1000, 500, 2000 लोग जा रहे हैं, उसमें पुलिस को जानकारी नहीं, सेना को जानकारी नहीं, सीआरपीएफ को जानकारी नहीं, हमारी खुफिया एजेंसियों को जानकारी नहीं, और आतंकवादी आते हैं और मार के चले जाते हैं। तो इसमें सुरक्षा की एक बहुत बड़ी खामी सामने आई है, जिसपे हम लोगों ने मांग की है कि इसकी अकाउंटेबिलिटी फिक्स होनी चाहिए और इस पे कार्रवाई होनी चाहिए कि इतनी बड़ी सिक्योरिटी लैप्स कैसे हुआ।
सिक्योरिटी लैप्स में सरकार
तो उनका जवाब वही जो परंपरागत गोलमोल जवाब होता है, उसी प्रकार का जवाब था। इसके साथ साथ ये भी बात रखा है सदस्यों ने, जिसमें सत्ता पक्ष के साथ जुड़े भी कई दल थे, कि जिस प्रकार से इस घटना के बाद सोशल मीडिया और मीडिया के जरिए देश के अलग अलग हिस्सों में नफरत फैलाने की कोशिश की जा रही है, उस पर रोक लगाई जाए और देश में शांति और अमन के साथ पाकिस्तान द्वारा पोषित समर्थित आतंकवाद को कड़ा से कड़ा, सख्त से सख्त जवाब दिया जाए।
Two points there. Vinkamara Sudhakaran, I want to bring you on that. Sanjay Singh, firstly, of course, saying that all political parties have essentially asked the government about the security or intelligence lapse that has resulted in the terror attack. But secondly, talking about the need to curb any conversations that could possibly be taking over social media that would essentially result in communal stress or disharmony in the country. However, Vinkamara Sudhakaran, in the past 48 hours, we have not seen any communal violence or any other incident communal in nature taking place in India. We have all come together and stood united in the face of terrorism. How big a slap is that in the face of the terrorists and their handlers in Pakistan, who are perhaps hoping to witness some sort of chaos in India?
Good evening, Devika. My condolences to the bereaved families. The Indian Muslims are today holding their head in shame. Let's understand that. So there is no reason why there should be communal violence in India. We have to get that straight. The second part is the enemy is not the average Muslim who is trying to find a livelihood for himself. The actual enemy for the Indian state is the Pakistani army and the chief. Let's get that straight. There is no point in going behind that 4 terrorists or taking out some launch pads in POK like we have been doing in the past. The language of the Prime Minister and the intent of the government this time is very, very clear, and I wouldn't be surprised if I see a brigade headquarters in Pakistan, deep inside Pakistan, being directly targeted by the Indian Air Force. I wouldn't expect the army to go that farther, but then yes, the Indian Air Force is capable of targeting it. That is most likely the proportional response that we have to give them. The Pakistan army need to be told to mind their business. They need to be told that no longer can they hide behind the cover of terrorists. We will definitely try to take the terrorist launch pads and terrorists out, but they need to understand that they will be targeted the next time around, and this time too. This is one. Second is, we have already initiated the diplomatic measures. This also means that the Indus Water Treaty that has been suspended, today India need not go back to the table and give them that 80% of water they have given. मतलब उनको हम भूखे मार सकते हैं, उनका नलका बंद कर दिया है हमने. अगर even if we create an infrastructure which can actually make use of 25% of that water, it will do well for Punjab, Haryana and Rajasthan. And that water will never ever go back to Pakistan. That is one of the good things that India will be able to do, because so far we were under some kind of an obligation to continue to serve them despite we not being wanting to do that. This time, since we have already bitten the bullet, taken that first step, I don't think Pakistan is going to get what it used to get prior to yesterday. So this is the second point. The third point is, I would urge the government to declare the chief of the army staff of Pakistan as a proclaimed terrorist. He is a terrorist. In fact, the speech that he made last week and the attack that has culminated, if the same thing can happen in Gaza, if there are presidencies like this, we must not, stop short of not recognizing this bigot, this terrorist who is masquerading as a soldier, as one. This is something that the Indian Parliament should unanimously pass, and this will send a signal to the Pakistani establishment. If need be, our unknown gunmen should also target this man. This man needs to be told that you are on my crossfire. What this will do is, this will actually send shivers down the spine of the Pakistani army, which also means the political dispensation in Pakistan, which is fighting against the Pakistani army, they will be emboldened. We must encourage them, we must tacitly support them, and we must do everything in our reasonable control. Finance, fund, and then brand these bigots and then bring them down. The moment the political dispensation becomes more powerful, that is when you will understand policies will become more realistic. And that is when these terrorists who've been funded despite Pakistan being in a terribly impoverished state, these things will stop. That is when the questions that are arising in India today, that why is this happening again and again and again?
Yes.
The reason is you had a stomachache, you went to cut your hair because you thought it is, it's the head where is the problem. So you need to address the problem for what it is, identify the enemy for who it is, and target them where they are. This is what I have to say. Otherwise, we can keep doing this every 2 years. I can keep coming on national television and keep talking about all these things, and then after a couple of days we can all go back and then resume our lives. But this thing will continue to haunt us. People after people, their pants will be removed, the genitals will be checked, and then they will be killed. In fact, today, as you started, why there is no communal violence, because today Muslims don't have a face to show outside, because that is what the terrorism brought them to. They may say that we are peace lovers, but unfortunately, it is their religion that is getting, branded like this. They need to take accountability for it. It is not enough they say that we don't stand with them.
Okay, all right. We also have Kiran Rijiju, who's spoken out after the all-party meeting. Let's quickly listen in.
किया था जैसे हुआ शुरुआत में सरकार की ओर से रक्षा मंत्री जी ने बताया कि जो घटना पहलगाम में जो हुआ है उसके बाद भारत सरकार ने CCS बैठक में क्या कदम उठाया, क्या फैसला लिया, उसका भी जानकारी दिया। और फिर सरकार का आतंकवाद के खिलाफ ज़ीरो टॉलरेंस पॉलिसी के बारे में शुरू में बताया कि ये घटना बहुत दुखद है, उसके वजह से जो देश भर में सब लोग चिंतित हैं, उसको लेते हुए भारत सरकार ने और भी कड़ी कार्रवाई करने का मंशा को भी आज जताया है। फिर पिछले कई सालों से कश्मीर के अंदर में शांति से लोग अपना व्यापार कर रहे थे, टूरिस्ट आ रहे थे, गतिविधियां चल रही थी और सब कुछ बहुत अच्छा हो रहा था। तो ये एक घटना ने माहौल जो ख़राब किया, उसको लेकर के सबने अपना चिंता जताया है। सब पॉलिटिकल पार्टी ने अपने अपने विचार को रखा और एक चीज़ सामने में आया कि देश को एकजुट और एक आवाज़ में खड़ा रह करके बोलना चाहिए और आतंकवाद के खिलाफ में एकजुट हो करके भारत को लड़ाई लड़ना चाहिए, ये सब ने माना है। आदरणीय प्रधानमंत्री जी का आज जो बिहार में देश को मैसेज दिया, उसको सबने सुना है। तो उस प्रधानमंत्री जी का जो मंशा है, आतंकवाद के खिलाफ कड़ी प्रहार जो भारत पहले भी करते आया है और भी आगे करेंगे, उसके बारे में सरकार की ओर से ऑल पार्टी मीटिंग में रखा है। हमारे ऑफिशियल्स की ओर से, आईबी की ओर से, होम मिनिस्ट्री के ऑफिशियल्स की ओर से ब्रीफिंग किया गया है, घटना कैसे हुई और कहाँ चूक हुई इसका भी बताया। और जो जगह जहाँ घटना हुई उस जगह में वो मेन रोड पे नहीं है, पैदल चलना पड़ता है या घोड़ा से चलना पड़ता है, जो लगभग वहाँ से 2.5 घंटे 2 घंटे दूर जिस मीडोस है जहाँ ये घटना हुई उसके बारे में बताया और सब पार्टी को बताया कि सब कुछ अच्छा चल।
Sumit Peer into the conversation as well. Sumit, what really, in your assessment, should the government also do at this point in time to send out a message to the people of Jammu and Kashmir as well? Because the incident has taken place in Kashmir, and Kiran Rijiju is also pointing that out, that things were pretty normal, elections have taken place, tourism was on the rise, we had seen a lot of positive developments taking place in J&K, but with this terror attack, certainly tourism will be hit. If not for the next few months, it could possibly take some time for people to really normalize towards Jammu and Kashmir once again. So what is it that you feel, in your assessment, the government should do at this point in time in order to send out a message to the people of J&K?
I think message is very clear, ma'am. It is not about the people of J&K. It is not the common citizen of J&K. It is the terrorist sympathizers and their ecosystem. Our message should be very loud and clear. If you don't want this incident to happen, we don't want people to die. You have to come up and cooperate. You have to be more open. You have to start giving information to the army and the people around of anything and what you know. Look, it is not possible this incident happened without local support. I'm not saying every locals are like that, but there might be some mini microscopic minority which are like that, which supported this terror activity. And there are also media reports, one of the person who supported and guided terrorists was trained in Pakistan. So a lot of crackdowns have happened today. Overground workers have been arrested today. But I think as long as we don't declare overground worker as terrorist is equal to terrorist, it will not settle the issue, because we don't have problem with the people of Kashmir and J&K. We have problem with the army of Pakistan. Today, if Qasim Soleimani has a synonym, the synonym will be Asim Munir. Because if America had to settle Qasim Soleimani, we could settle Asim Munir as well, because he's the person where the perpetrator of terror is. This is where the terrorism is coming. So we don't have problems in anybody in J&K. But yes, ecosystem has to be targeted. Anybody who gives them financial support, transport support, any kind of a support, any kind of involvement with terrorism is an act of terror. It does not matter who pulls the trigger. The notion is, if I pull the trigger, I'm the terrorist. No, if he are using my house, if they're staying in my house, if I give the financial assistance, if I'm the ground, I am an equal terrorist. That is the message which should go loud and clear. And the society of Kashmir has to rise up. And start talking and start identifying these people, because if you don't identify these people, they will bring halt to your dal roti rozgar. That is what is going to happen. And I question here, what is the role of Umar Abdullah's government here? What did Umar Abdullah's government do? You see, after Umar came to power, the number of incidents and number of killings of security forces and the common people have increased. What was the local LIU unit doing? Why were J&K police not deployed there? And will Umar Abdullah now take the responsibility of that? And especially the people who wanted elections to be done before September 2024, will they take the responsibility for that? What result has this election given us? How has Umar Abdullah's government, democratically elected government, changed the situations on the ground? Manoj Sinha was there. We never saw an incident like this happen. Why is it only when Umar is there or Mehbooba Mufti is there, we have massacres like this happen? Why there's a coincidence? When you have a local Kashmiri party there, you have such massacres happening. And when you have a governor's rule there, when you have a person like Manoj Sinha or Murmu Sahab or anybody there, we don't have massacres like this happen. Why do these accidents of this proportion, I'm still calling it accident, of this proportion happen when there are local Kashmiri parties calling the roost? These are the questions which have to be asked. Does Umar Abdullah need to be the chief minister? Why his government should not be dismissed? These are some questions which need to be asked. And you can't now today say, okay, the place was opened, we didn't know, army didn't know, who didn't know. Why a chief minister is not responsible for that? You might argue, I don't have this power, I don't have that power, then hang up your boots. I mean, if this Kejriwal syndrome keeps on going to every chief minister, you blame center and the IB and the RAW for everything, then it's not going to work. Then what good are you for? How can Umar Abdullah be let go scot-free out of this? What did he do to stop this? What was his police doing? What was his LIU doing? What was his ministries doing? I mean, how could you open a place like Baisaran with no protection, ma'am? The terror killing people for 10 minutes straight, 10 minutes tak maar rahe the. नाम पता पूछ के मार रहे थे. And I mean, you can't have the chief minister just walk away. Not my problem. It's not simple as that. Sorry.
Okay, Rajan Khanna, I want to bring you to the conversation. Rajan Khanna, we've been hearing some sound bites that have been coming in, clippings rather, of the Pakistan Defence Minister, a press conference that has been held. In one of the clips, the Pakistani Defence Minister has denied that India has suspended the Indus Water Treaty. And secondly, I was just listening to another clip in which the Pakistani Defence Minister says that they now have information that India is going to start a wave of terrorism on Pakistani soil, and he is warned that if any innocent Pakistani civilian is killed in any Indian operation or Indian backed terrorism in Pakistan, then Pakistan will make India pay a heavy price. I want to understand from your perspective, Pakistani terrorism has resulted in the deaths of 26 innocent Indian civilians. Has Pakistan really just now cleared up the path for India to take the unimaginable action that the Prime Minister was talking about? Firstly, they seem to be worried, going around denying that the Indus Water Treaty has not been suspended. Then in a knee-jerk reaction, they have suspended all bilateral agreements with India, including the Simla agreement, which has major implications. So, is Pakistan now descending into complete chaos?
Namaste. My submission is going to be in three parts. First of all, I would try to explain what I was hearing, what Mr. Sanjay Singh was saying. I will ask Sanjay Singh, has he ever been to Pahalgam? Has he seen the terrain? Does he know? Round the year, security apparatus remains there. Whether this is winter or this is summer, whether this is because Amarnath Yatra, there are two routes. One route goes through Baltal, another route goes from Pahalgam. So security is always there. The terrain is such, they chose the place because this Besaran Valley, this is just off the main road. And it's around 8-10 kilometers trek. People have to go on ponies to that place. This is known as, besides the other two places, one is Betab Valley, another one is Aju Valley, and this is Switzerland. This is called mini Switzerland. So this is connected with the Kokernag stretch. Kokernag, this is dense forest. Kokernag going to from there Sinthal Top and crossing Sinthal Top, the Pir Panjal one reaches Kishtwar. And they have planned it, and they had specialized apps, and they knew it, and they just vanished in the thin air. So that is my response to Sanjay Singh. Now coming to Indus Water Treaty, let me tell you, I was in Lahore last November. So I was just, my friends took me to several places. So Ravi bed is completely now dry. They people, as the want of Pakistani politicians, they are corrupt. They people, distributed to land the private builders. Once upon a time where Ravi used to flow, now there are housing colonies. Why did it happen? The Indus Water Treaty, all the three western rivers, which is Indus, Jhelum, Chenab, it went to Pakistan, and though many times people very conveniently forget, 20% water of those three rivers also was allocated to us, which we never utilized. Then coming to eastern rivers, Ravi, Beas and Satluj, these were 100% given to us, and I don't know, ignorantly we used to release 20, 25, 30% water to them, and till last 5-10 years water used to flow down the Ravi also. But after we properly commissioned and made the canal system in Ranjit Sagar Dam, we completely blocked the water, and now see the condition of the Ravi. Let me tell you one thing: the Pakistani people over there, which are right now, I've been watching many shows. Sindhtas, Mohada tor diya, ye kar diya, wo kar diya. Let me tell you one thing: the riverbeds, downstream riverbeds of Jhelum and Chenab, they are going to be similar to what Ravi is looking today if we implement this, because earlier one dilemma was there, where we will take the water of Chenab if we block it. Okay, now Baglihar Dam is there in Jammu region. We have Kishanganj Dam and Jhelum also. As far as my knowledge is there, diversion of Jhelum water will be in limited quantity, but as far as Chenab is concerned, we can 100% block water of Chenab. We can connect it to other canal systems through Himachal also. Himachal actually is the origin of Chenab. It used to be Chandrabhaga, during the old days. So we can divert it from there. Now, the further course of action, let me tell you. Pakistan, right now, the problem is going on in Balochistan, KPK. The third most problematic area is going to, I am telling you, I am making a prophecy now, is going to be Sindh. Because if we curtail the flow of water in these two rivers, Jhelum and Chenab, then the most affected province is going to be Sindh. Recently, just 6 canals from Sindh, the Indus River, they wanted to divert to Cholistan. They say Cholistan
Yes.
is a small desert in southern Punjab.
Okay,
So they
okay.
wanted to divert it. They wanted to do corporate farming over there. People, press never reported the kind of protests and demonstrations which are taking place in Sindh. Sindh is the next
Okay.
problematic area of Pakistan. And one more thing, let me tell you.
Okay, okay.
The fight.
I have some information coming in. A special flight has been arranged by the Maharashtra government, which has landed in Mumbai. It was carrying tourists from the state who had traveled to Jammu and Kashmir. This has come in the wake of the recent terror attack in Pahalgam. We quickly listen into what the tourists have had to say. Then I bring in Adit Kothari as well.
फ्लाइट का इंतजाम किया उससे आप आए हैं? हाँ, उसी से आया हैं। सर क्या कहना चाहते हैं कि जो हमला हुआ था बट कब जाके आप आने के लिए कौन सी कंट्री का गए? मैं एक वीक के लिए गया हुआ था बट तीन दिन के बाद ही रिटर्न आ गया बिकॉज सिचुएशन वहाँ पे इतनी अच्छी दिखी नहीं, फैमिली को लेके डर था तो निकल वो तो आप कहाँ पे? उस समय गुलमर्ग में था। जब आपको पता चला कि आप डर गए थे, आप पता चला तो हम लोग तुरंत वहाँ से निकल के अपने होटल चले गए, उसके बाद कहीं निकले नहीं, सीधा फ्लाइट ही पकड़ गए। तो टेरर का डर हुआ है, क्या कहना चाहते हैं आप, क्या कार्रवाई करना चाहिए? लिटरली पर्यटक पे तो इस तरह की चीजें एक्सेप्टेबल नहीं है किसी भी।
All right, there you heard it. So, tourists, of course, returning from Kashmir, and fair enough. Everyone has to look after their families, and nobody wants to be in any sort of a tricky situation after what's happened in Pahalgam. I want to bring in Adit Kothari into the conversation as well. Adit, I want to pose the same question to you, which I posed to the previous speaker as well. And I want to understand, in your assessment, why is Pakistan at this point in time holding press conferences where they are denying the suspension of the Indus Water Treaty and at the same time also claiming that, oh, we have information that India will start, Indian-backed terrorists are going to wreak havoc on the streets of Pakistan in the days to come, and then we will make India bleed?
So I think why they want to spread the misinformation about the treaty is because we have to remember that the water that India magnanimously gives to Pakistan, according to the treaty of 1960, we gave them 80% of the water to buy peace. We gave them that water so that we could buy peace and they could have the water, and we could all progress together. But that never happened. They have always reneged on their contract. The 80% of the water that India magnanimously gives to Pakistan, it sort of services the arable land in Punjab. Almost 95% of the produce from the agricultural industry in Pakistan, in the Pakistani Punjab, basically is due to this particular water that India is magnanimously giving to Pakistan. So they want to save face at the moment because it's pressure from the Punjabi population. The moment water comes into contention, it will create a massive amount of chaos internally. Because ultimately it's their bread and butter which will get hit. It's the main sort of foray of Pakistani politics, Punjab, which is going to get hit. So it's more of a pace-saving tactic, and ultimately Pakistan's whole survival is on the basis of anti-India, anti-Hindu hate. So they have to play that wagon to ensure that the country is united and the country can sort of sing song in some sort of a unison. Now, coming to the main issue of why Pakistan is deflecting this particular issue and why they're talking about the Shimla Agreement, even though if you look at the key notes of the Shimla Agreement, it talks about bilateral agreement. bilaterally, we are going to be resolving the issue of Jammu and Kashmir. Year on year, Pakistan has gone into the UN and, started trying foul instead of, trying to solve the issue bilaterally. It's about reducing military. It is about reducing engagement in a warlike manner. It is about talking about LOC. None of those issues have ever featured within the Pakistani, domain of discourse. So obviously, they are very comfortable talking about the Shimla Agreement because they've never actually stood by the Shimla Agreement. So all in all, Pakistan is just playing a deflection tactic. From an India prism of things, I think, India needs to call out their bluff. Enough of this political correctness. They have been hitting us asymmetrically since the 1980s. Pakistan had this doctrine called the Operation Topak, which is basically bleed India with 1,000 cuts. And they've been doing it since the 1980s. We've never actually reciprocated. I think the time has come where we need to take cognizance of that. And we need to start looking at options in Balochistan, in KPK, in Pakistan occupied Jammu Kashmir, and Sindh. That reciprocity, I think, is the need of the hour. Devika.
Okay, as we speak, more information coming in. Viewers, Italian Prime Minister and French President Emmanuel Macron have dialed Prime Minister Modi and condemned the Pahalgam terror attack. Let's put out more information on our screens as well. We've been told that President Emmanuel Macron called Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Let's just take this on our screens, please. President Emmanuel Macron has called Prime Minister Narendra Modi and conveyed his personal condolences on the brutal killing of innocent people in the heinous terror attack in the Indian Union territory of Jammu and Kashmir. He strongly condemned the attack and expressed his full support and solidarity with the people of India, adding that this kind of barbarism is totally unacceptable. Meanwhile, Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni of Italy has called Prime Minister Modi and strongly condemned the terrible terror attack on Indian soil. She conveyed her thoughts and prayers for the victims and wished a speedy recovery to those injured. She expressed full support of Italy in the fight against terrorism. Vingamala Sudhakaran, I want to bring you back into the conversation, sir. I want to understand from your perspective, given that the Prime Minister has provided some sort of a hint on what India could possibly do in the next few days, how crucial would international support be, if at all, in such a situation? Because the same question was, of course, and I'm sure you remember as well, was posed in 1971 to Indira Gandhi as well, before the liberation of Bangladesh. So how crucial would international support be, sir? And does India care?
Since Prime Minister Modi took over as the Prime Minister of India, he has not been bothered about what the world thinks. The world, in fact, has been bothered about what Modi thinks. That's what has changed. And peculiarly this time, I have to also tell you that Modi has started speaking the language of Yogi in the last 2 days. Remember, he said, "Mitti mein mila denge." Mitti mein mila denge is the language of our Honorable CM of Uttar Pradesh, Shri Yogi Ji. It has got a very, very deep meaning. Mitti mein mila denge ka matlab is not that we are going to do a surgical strike like what we did in Uri. The second time we escalated with a Balakot strike wherein the Rafales went in. I was in the ops room. In fact, I still remember that day. I would like to live that day 10 times over for the sheer pleasure that it gave, because the chest swelled in pride just because I wore the same uniform as that of my brother, which went across the border and did the job. This time it is going to be far more different. Last time he said no damage to the civilians. This time we are not responsible to protect the Pakistani civilians. In fact, what I want Modi to do is to take out the chief of the Pakistani army, exactly like what the US did to Iran, exactly like what Israel did to the Hamas leadership, as well as the Hezbollah. You need to take inside and take them out. The next time they decide to look towards India, even for praying, they should prick in their pants. They dare to remove the pants of our citizens. They should know what it means to save it. They will, that is what mitti mein mila denge for me is. And the kind of resolve that he's shown, the kind of body language that I see, I also see a very coordinated attack between probably the Navy, Army, and I'll not be surprised if this Navy gets into, some kind of a blockade around the Arabian Sea with the kind of the warships that we have. China cannot come to their help there. US is already present with 2 large ships there. So, there is a naval blockade that it can impose and threaten the Karachi ports. The army could go in at places which Pakistan couldn't dream of, while the skies are kept busy. And what will be targeted this time is not the terrorist launch pads. Those rats would have definitely dispersed and probably gone and hidden somewhere into the mountains of Khyber Pakhtunkhwa or somewhere else. But I don't think, and apart from this, I want Modi to do one more thing. Send special forces, get into Balochistan, organize that, tribal force and make them fight against them. Give them all kinds of support. Give them tanks if it is required. Airdrop the tanks, train them for 2 weeks and then start an armed struggle much worse than Pakistan can imagine. In under 6 months, Pakistan will break. The Balochistan province will break. Khyber Pakhtunkhwa will break, and with the kind of water situation that they will face, as my co-panelist Mr. Khanna had already specified, that Sindh will be up in arms. And let me see what happens to these Punjabis. They will come begging to us. They will, if they don't beg to us saying that, please unite us, please take us into the fold, tab hum unko bolenge ghar वापसी करो पहले. जो कटा है उसको जोड़ो पहले. पहले अपना पैंट खोल के ये दिखाओ कि तुम जुड़े हुए हमसे, तुम्हारा खून हमसे मिलता है और तुम्हारी हिस्ट्री हमसे अलग नहीं है. तुम्हारा तो बल्कि हिस्ट्री ही नहीं है. तुम तो ऐसे पैदावार हो, तुम उस फौज की पैदावार हो जो यहाँ पे आके बीज बो के गई थी, और तुम आज उसी सोच को लेके आगे बढ़ने की कोशिश कर रहे हो जिसका कोई वजूद नहीं है. This is what Modi is likely to do, and if he does this, a statue bigger than the statue of Sardar Patel will be erected for Modi in the north, east, south, and the west. And it will guard the borders of India for the next 1,000 years. That's all I have to say.
Okay, on that note, I thank all of our guests for joining us. But viewers, let me take you through a quick recap of the past 12 hours. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh and Home Minister Amit Shah have briefed the opposition now on the Pahalgam terror attack in a 2-hour-long meeting that took place in the annex of the parliament. We've heard leaders of opposition come out of that meeting and express full solidarity with the government. Secondly, IAF Rafales and Su-30s have carried out the Akraman exercise as well. So that's the second big development that has taken place in the past 12 hours. Thirdly, Prime Minister Modi has spoken to Benjamin Netanyahu, the King of Jordan, the Italian Prime Minister, the French President. He's spoken to a plethora of foreign leaders who have all expressed solidarity with India and condemned the terror attack. Number 4, there has been an encounter in Dudu Basantgarh area where unfortunately one Jawan has lost his life in taking on the terrorists. Number 5, we have been told that the MEA has briefed ambassadors of 20 countries about the Pahalgam attack. This has happened in the evening. Number 6, INS Surat has test fired a medium range surface to air missile successfully. Big development that has taken place today. Number 7, all Pakistani nationals have now been told to leave India by the 27th of April. And lastly, but most importantly, has been the statement of the Prime Minister today, who has promised that the perpetrators of the Pahalgam terror attack and their planners will be given a punishment beyond imagination. Those are the big developments, 8 big developments that have taken place in the past 12 hours. With that, viewers, we leave it there and step into a very short break.